Runway just released Gen 4.5, and in this video I'm going to be comparing it against Kling 2.6 and Google Veo 3.1, which are two of the best models on the market. And so more specifically, I'm going to be looking at dynamic motion, so how well they handle fast, complex movements. Then prompt adherence, so detailed prompts with text-specific constraints. Next is character performance, so different motions, subtle expressions, and believable body language. And then finally, multi-shot sequences with multiple camera angles across the same scene with different shots. Right, so as I said, Runway just released Gen 4.5. This is kind of their website where they made the announcement. They're claiming that it is one of the best text-to-video models here against Veo 3 and Kling 2.5. They're saying it has great precise prompt adherence, can handle complex scenes, physical accuracy. And so, yeah, I wanted to test this against Google Veo 3.1 and Kling 2.6. They are two of my favorite models right now, and I think one of the most affordable. I would have included Sora in this, but Sora is just so expensive, it's just kind of barely usable. And so to do the tests, what I've done is, as you can see, I've put a load of videos on my timeline. This cost me so many credits, by the way. We've got the first set of prompts down here where I'm doing different sort of complex movements. We've got the second set here, which are basically really specific prompts to see how it handled that. We've then got down here kind of people realism. And then finally, we have the multi-shot sequences. So first up, I was testing kind of like a martial art scene. I've done some kind of key testing here, like gymnasts as well, really fast complex movements. I will add in that this model hasn't released with audio, but I believe it is coming, and Google Veo 3.1 and Kling both have audio. So this is the Gen 4.5 model. I think it's handling it not too bad. There is obviously morphing happening, but that's to be expected. The Kling one, I'm really impressed with the Kling one here. It did this weird shit here. I have no idea what that is. The Google one also not too bad. The Kling one was the best in here. Google Veo on text to video also has just this look. I can't describe it, but all of the Google Veo videos, you can kind of tell it's a Google Veo video. It adds this sort of like, how do I describe it? It's like a sharpen filter. It like sharpens the images and or the video, and I really don't like it. Next up, we have gymnast. This is always a fun test to do because none of the models can handle this. So I just wanted to see whether Gen 4.5 could do it, because it's claiming to be, really good. I mean, it definitely can't handle it. It's not too bad. I find that when you ask Kling model, actually not too bad. I find that what happens is when you're asking for complex movement, when there are like limbs or multiple different things that require, fast movement, that's when it really struggles. And I'll just show you an example that I've got here where there's a skateboard and also a car where it seems to handle the movement a lot better, where it's not as quick and there's kind of less going on. So the skateboard one actually handled it pretty well there. It obviously morphs on the skateboard where, when it's really quick, fast movement and an object is moving from position to position, that's where it really just can't handle it. Across all of the models, to be honest. Kling, again, in my opinion, looking the best here. That looks real to me. Really not too much movement. Simple and steady. Just some weird shit there. Google Veo, not too bad. And then looking at a car, I find that, like as I said, when you have like big objects, that's when the movement is much easier for the models to handle, because there's just no morphing going on, because the surface area is bigger of the thing moving. So just bear that in mind. Overall, like all of them perform pretty well. I'm not really happy. They all kind of look like kind of like a game. I actually think the Google Veo one does the best here. And then finally, as just another example, like none of them are really handling lots of people here. Overall, I think Kling is just performing really well in kind of the movement test, and the Runway model is just not quite there. Next up, we've got very specific prompts and some call outs here, basically with this yellow mug here, ceramic mug with a chipped rim. In his right hand is a folded blue paper with a red root line visible. Kind of handled that, not quite right. chipped mug is there. I like the image here, that this kind of looks real. I quite like the sort of the noise in the video as well. It makes it look like it's shot on an actual camera, and the movement is fairly natural. This to me doesn't look real, but has handled the prompts pretty well. And then finally, Google Veo also handled the prompts well. Still has that look. I'm not sure whether it's quite real. Next up, I tried to do some text examples. No signal, try again. Handled that well. So it appears as though the model can handle text. Kling definitely can't, which I've noticed in a couple of text examples. Google Veo is able to handle specific text in there as well. I would say though, most of the time, if you want text, just use image to video. I believe image to video will come to Runway, but this video I'm just testing text to video. Another text one here. The Runway model seems to handle text really well, to be honest. I think better than the other models, if I'm going to say as one thing that it's doing well. As again, a Kling example here, Kling just can't do text. Google Veo can. I feel like Runway could be a good model for simple movements. Most models, like, that's usually how you get the best output, is just very simple movements. So this is obviously a street with text. I actually don't mind this. You might see that there's like morphing in the background. Handled the text fairly well here. Looks fairly natural. Kling one didn't do it too well, and then the Google Veo one, again, not too bad here. And then this was a kind of a test where I'm trying to get the person to write "Call Sam at 6" on a sticky note. I was curious on how well they would handle this, and didn't really handle it that well to begin with. Writing, Kling didn't think would have any chance at this, and it didn't. And then Google Veo, none of them can handle drawing on the text there. And so the next set of examples is now looking at people and realism. This was kind of, I think, the sort of test that most people would be really interested in, because a lot of people use people in AI videos, and we want that realistic look that sometimes we don't get when images are converted into videos. The model puts this look on the image that we don't want. Google Veo does this. Kling does it not so much. I think this is pretty good. Looks real. The person's face is not handling sort of the tears there, but again, it could just be that using subtle movements. Kling also just not handling tears very well either. Do I think that looks real? I don't think so. I think this one, if we look at the beginning here, I think this looks the realist, to be honest. Again, Google Veo has that look. I can't get my head out of that, the look that it has. I'm not sure I would recommend Google Veo for people because of the look that it gives. And I've noticed this even with image to video. When I've got an image that doesn't have the look, it converts the image into the look. Once you use the model more and more, you'll notice what the look is. Her movements are kind of janky here, but still, I think I don't like that output. I think it looks shit. And then look, the Kling one,
no, this is not what we agreed on.
Don't like the audio on Kling. It still has that sort of AI sound, but I think Kling to me is always winning in most tests. But again, it depends on what exactly you're using the model for. Kling is also cheaper as well. I think Kling 2.6 is just a great value for money model that will give you the best result, like compared to other models, as well as also considering the price and cost of the credits. Runway is definitely handling the skin textures well, though. That is what I would say I think is probably the biggest pro of this model from my testing, is skin textures kind of feel realistic. I could also upscale this to 4K. I'm still not sure about how well it handles movement, though. There was a bit of a weird tongue movement there, and I wouldn't expect it to really do that in quite a simple prompt and output here. And if we look at the Kling model here, it's got a bit of a waxy look. That doesn't look real to me, but that emotion and feeling does. Google Veo doesn't look real at all there. I don't like the Google Veo faces. Again, it's annoying that we don't have audio here, but this was just trying to show laughing in expression and how well it handled that. I don't like her look at the end there, but the laugh kind of felt and looked like it was real. It's got just a bit of uncanny value when they do emotion. Google Veo one actually, I think, did the best job there in terms of natural emotion. They still just don't really handle emotion that well, in my opinion, especially like exaggerated, like laughing or crying. And then this one was an interesting one, just like in a dark hallway. Runway models seem to handle this quite well, even though you can't see her face too much, but I think the composition is good. Kling also pretty good. Google Veo kind of did some sort of scary movie scene. Lots of noise around here as well. Again, just doesn't feel real. I actually think that the Runway one feels the realest there. And then last but not least, we're doing like multi-shot sequences. Runway said it handles multi-shot sequences in a way, not where it's like cut, but more like it's the same scene and it changes different camera angles. I wasn't too impressed with the results here, but it was interesting seeing what the potential could be. So basically shot 1 is he sits at the table, shot 2 is eye scan, and then shot 3. So it's like basically dictating what's happened through the sort of the 8-10 second clip here. But we are subject to quite a lot of morphing. Doesn't seem to, like, it's not usable, but I think there's potential in this because you can get continuity across a small 10-second shot if you want the person to move, and you can dictate that. So I think this has a lot of value here in dictating that, because you don't have to cut, and it almost feels like you're able to create stuff that would be like in a film where it does cut to different camera and shot angles, but there's just too much morphing going on. This was the Kling model. Kling model looks real here. Problem is that the Kling model didn't seem to handle my prompt here with the different shots. Kind of just, I don't know whether it's because my prompting needed to be different in order to achieve this, but it did for the Runway one, but not so much for the Kling and the Veo ones. Again, was just a car sequence again with just different shots. That one cut there again seems to just be lack of consistency in how all of the models handle multi-shot sequence. I think the Kling one did a pretty good job here, to be honest. And then the Google Veo one, quite liked there. I could probably improve my prompting here. I'd have to play around with it. And then this one was just sort of a running away sequence. Not a huge fan of what this prompt produced. I like the audio on the Kling one though. I think that's not too bad a clip. Google Veo audio is pretty good as well here. But again, there's just too much fucking weird shit happening. Skateboard one, love a skateboard test. The Runway one did a good job. Ignore the morphing, but the following of the skateboard here and then back out. I actually think that was a really good clip. It doesn't look real. Kling one just looks good. I think this is one of the best clips that I generated with Kling. So just to show you, skater pushes forward towards a ledge, close on wheels as he pops an ollie, grind along ledge, landing and rolling away. So it kind of followed it. So he did push away there. Doesn't pop an ollie. Does grind the edge there. Google one didn't handle this. And then finally this coffee scene, none of them handled this very well. This is quite of a complex, multi-person, multi-shot scene, really testing whether or not they could handle lots of things going on, but none of them could here, and I wouldn't expect people to be generating stuff like this, but potentially you might want to. When we're trying to move forward to like actually developing videos or short films with really complex movement, models are going to be able to do things like this for pure control. Right now, I think most models are just great at simple stuff. And in order to make a video look real consistently throughout, you have to just cut a lot, which is why most AI films and videos are cutting every 3 or 4 seconds, because you'll find that when you generate like an 8 or 10 second video, at some point in that video, some weird shit happens. So yeah, I'm yet to really come across a model that's really able to maintain continuity across the whole scene consistently. You get it every now and then with different prompts, but I think we're still in a place where you need need to just keep the video outputs within your video sequence, like 3 or 4 seconds. Very simple, sort of one movement, one motion. You can have multiple people, but usually the focus is better on one people, because in all of my tests, when I'm introducing multiple, like this one here, multiple people, the Runway one didn't handle this multi-person market one too bad, but there's a hell of a lot of morphing going on. Kling not too bad, to be fair. Kling, I think, handled this the best, but again, there's just weird shit happening. The Google one, look at this guy's face. Just to conclude, I think the Runway model isn't as good as what they said it to be. Maybe it's because my tests weren't the right tests. But at the end of the day, I think my tests were valid in just showing the capabilities of the model and what people might be using it for more advanced stuff. And you know what? I think the Kling model 2.6 still comes out on top. We might see a Google Veo 4 by the end of the year or January, which could blow everything out of the water. Wouldn't be surprised if that comes very soon. But right now, I'm using Kling 2.6 for most things. And Google Veo 3.1 potentially, if I want something with audio. Wouldn't really use Sora, even though Sora is very good. It's just too many credits, so I like to keep things simple with Kling 2.6. But hopefully that was valuable. Hopefully you just got to see and just understand a little bit about where we are in terms of different models' capabilities at the moment. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments, but if not, I will see you in the next video.